अभी शुरू करते हैं। व्हाट इज इन्फरेंस? इन्फरेंस इज ए मेंटल प्रोसेस ऑफ pausing from one or more preposition to another preposition which is justified by them. In other words, inference is a mental process of passing from something known to something unknown or from observed cases to the unobserved cases. For example, Ram is mortal, Sham is mortal, Jodu is mortal. Therefore, all men are mortal. What are the different kind of inference? Inference mainly is of two kinds: a number, deductive inference, inductive inference. What is deductive inference? Deductive inference is that kind of inference in which the conclusion cannot be more general than the premise or premises. In other words, deductive inference is that kind of inference in which we establish a particular conclusion from a general or universal premise or premises. For example, all men are mortal. Ram is a man, therefore Ram is mortal. What is inductive inference? Inductive inference is that kind of inference in which the conclusion must be more general than the premises. Full stop. In other words, inductive inference is that kind of inference in which we establish a universal or more general conclusion from particular facts of experience. For example, Ram is mortal, Sham is mortal, Jadu is mortal. Therefore, all men are mortal. Another question: what are the different kinds of deductive inference? Deductive inference is of two kinds, namely immediate inference and mediate inference. What is immediate inference? Immediate inference is a kind of deductive inference in which the conclusion follows from only one premise. For example, all crows are black. Universal preposition. Therefore, some black beings are crows. What is mediate inference? Mediate inference is a kind of deductive inference, in which the conclusion follows from more than one premise. For example, all men are mortal, all kings are men, therefore all kings are mortal. What are the different kind of immediate inference? There are various kinds of immediate inference like conversion, obversion, contraposition. What is conversion? Define with example. Conversion is a kind of mediate inference in which there is a legitimate transposition of the subject and the predicate of the premise in the conclusion. Full stop. In this type of inference, the given premise is called the convertent and the conclusion is called converse. For example, no men are perfect, therefore no perfect beings are men. What are the rules of conversion? There are four rules of conversion which are as follows. The subject of the convertent becomes the predicate of the converse. The predicate of the convertent becomes the subject of the converse. The quality of the convert is the same as the quality of the convertent. No term can be distributed in the converse unless it is not distributed in the convertent. Another question: why all preposition cannot be converted? If a preposition is to be converted, its conclusion will be another a preposition, and then subject of the converted is not distributed but it is distributed in the converse. For example, some men are not honest, therefore some honest beings are not men. In the above example, we find that the subject of the converted man is undistributed by it is distributed in the converse. Full stop. So it violates the fourth rule of the conversion, that is, no term can be distributed in the converse unless it is distributed in the convertent. That is why a preposition cannot be converted. Another question: what are the different kinds of conversion? Define with example. There are two kinds of conversion. mainly simple conversion per accidents. Simple conversion is that kind of conversion in which the quantity of the converse is the same as the quantity of the convertant. Full stop. The conversion of E and I prepositions are the example of simple conversion. For example, no cats are dogs. Therefore, no dogs are cats. Option 2. Some men are wise. Therefore, some wise beings are men. Conversion per accidents. Conversion per accidents is that kind of conversion in which the quantity of the converse is different from the quantity of the converted. Full stop. The conversion of a preposition is an example of conversion per accidents. For example, all crows are black. Therefore, some black beings are crows. What is obversion? Obversion is a kind of immediate inference in which there is a change in the quality of the given preposition while its meaning remains unchanged. Full stop. In this form of inference, comma, the given preposition is called the obvertent and the conclusion is called the obverse. For example, all men are mortal, therefore no men are non-mortal. Of question number 14, what are the rules of conversion? There are four rules of conversion. These are: option 1, the subject of the obverse is the same as the subject of the obverted. Option 2, the predicate of the obverse is the contradictory of the predicate of the converted. Option C, the quality of the converse is the opposite of the quality of the converted. Option 4, the quantity of the converse is the same as the quantity of the converted. Version of A is an opposite E. E is opposite A. I is opposite O. O is opposite I. What is syllogism? Syllogism is a kind of mediate deductive inference, comma, in which the conclusion follows from two premises taken jointly. For example, all men are mortal, all kings are men, therefore all kings are mortal. What are the characteristics of syllogism? Or mention any four characteristics of syllogism. Answer. Following are the some important characteristics of syllogism. The conclusion of a syllogism is taken from two premises jointly. Full stop. It cannot be drawn from any one of them. Roman number 2. The conclusion of a syllogism cannot be more general than the premises, comma, because it is a kind of deductive inference. Option C. The conclusion of a syllogism is drawn spontaneously from the premises. Option D. The material truth of the conclusion of a syllogism is based on the material truth of the premises. Question number 17. Discuss the structure of syllogism. Answer. A syllogism consists of three propositions, two premises, and one conclusion. Again, every preposition has two terms, but every syllogism has three terms instead of six terms because each term occurs twice in the argument in the same sense. These three terms are major term, minor term, and middle term. What is major term? The predicate of the conclusion of a syllogism is called major term. Minor term. The subject of the conclusion of a syllogism is called minor term. Middle term. The term which is present in both the premises, comma, but not in the conclusion is called the middle term. It should be mentioned here that the premise in which the major term occurs is called major premise and the predicate in the minor term occurs is called minor premise. Full stop. All men are mortal, all poets are men, therefore all poets are mortal. In the above example of syllogism, mortal is the major term, comma, poets is the minor term and men is the middle term. What is figure of a syllogism? Figure is a form of a syllogism which is determined by the position of the middle term in the premise. For example, all men are mortal, all kings are men, therefore all kings are mortal. In the above example, the position of the middle term is subject in the major premise and predicate in the minor premise, which is a form of figure. Question number 19. What are the different kinds of figure? Define with an example. There are four kinds of figure, namely first figure, second figure, third figure, and fourth figure. What is first figure? When the middle term is subject in the major premise and predicate in the minor premise, then it is called the first figure. For example, all men are rational. Some animals are men. Therefore, some animals are rational. Second figure, when the middle term is predicate in both the premises, then it is called the second figure. For example, no men are perfect. All gods are perfect. Therefore, no gods are men. Third figure, when the middle term is subject in both the premises, then it is called the third figure. For example, all poets are thinkers, all poets are men, therefore, some men are thinkers. Fourth figure, when the middle term is predicate in the major premise and subject in the minor premise, then it is called the fourth figure. For example, some men are happy, all happy persons are virtuous, therefore, some virtuous persons are men. What is the mood of syllogism? Mood is a form of a syllogism which is determined by the quality and the quantity of the premises or by the quality and the quantity of the constituent propositions. For example, no men are perfect, all kings are men, therefore no kings are perfect. The above argument is an example of syllogism, comma, the mode of which is E, A, E. What is the valid mode of first figure, second figure, third figure, and fourth figure? There are 19 valid modes of syllogism in all figures, which are as follows. First figure, 4 valid modes. Barbara is represented by AAA. Celarent, Celare, and Celarent is denoted by EAC. Dari, Darii, represented by AII. Ferio, Ferio, EIO. Second figure, Cesare, Cesare, bracket by EAE. B. Chemistries, Camestres, C. Estino, and D. Barocco. Third figure, 6 valid modes. Darapti, Tatisi, Disamis, Philipton, Bocardo, Ferison. Fourth figure, Brahmantip, option B. Caminis, C. Dimaris, D. Fisapo, E. Fricison. Question number 12. What are the general rules of syllogism? Answer. There are 10 general rules of syllogism which are as follows. Every syllogism must contain 3 and only 3 prepositions. Every syllogism must contain 3 and 3 forms, each of which occurs twice in the argument in the same sense. Bracket. The violation of this rule leads to the fallacy of 4 terms. Option 3. The middle term must be distributed at least once in the premise. The violation of this rule leads to the fallacy of undistributed middle. Option 4. No term can be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the premises. The violation of this rule leads to the fallacy of illicit major or the fallacy of illicit minor. Option 5. If both the premises are affirmative, the conclusion must also be affirmative. Option 6. From true or negative premises, no conclusion can be drawn. Option 7. If one of the premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative. Option 8. From two particular premises, no conclusion can be drawn. 9. If one of the premises is particular, the conclusion must be particular. 10. From a particular major premise and a negative minor premise, no conclusion can be drawn.
First year Logic and Philosophy का fifth unit Philosophy. Question number 1. What is philosophy? What is the etymological meaning of the word philosophy? Answer. The word philosophy is derived from two Greek words, namely number 1 philos and sophia. Philos means love and sophia means knowledge or wisdom. Full stop. So, etymologically, the word philosophy means love of knowledge. Philosophy is defined by different philosophers in different ways, but after analysis of all these definitions, we find that philosophy is a comprehensive study of life and the universe as a whole. It is an attempt to explain and appreciate life and the universe as a whole. Question number 2. What are the main branches of philosophy? The main branches of philosophy are number 1 epistemology, number 2 metaphysics, and number 3 axiology. Question number 3. What is epistemology? Question mark. What is the etymological meaning of the epistemology? The word epistemology is derived from two Greek words, namely epistem and logos. Episteme means knowledge and logos means science. So, etymologically, the word epistemology means science of knowledge. Epistemology is an important branch of philosophy. In fact, the branch of philosophy which is concerned with the nature, origin, conditions, limits, validity and sources of knowledge is called epistemology. Question number 4. What is metaphysics? Question mark. Write a short note on metaphysics. The word metaphysics is derived from two Greek words, namely number 1 meta and physica. Meta means after and physica means physics or matter. Thus, the word metaphysics literally means what comes after matter, or in other words, metaphysics is the science of reality which is lying beyond the world of matter. In fact, metaphysics is an important branch of philosophy. So, the branch of philosophy which discusses and tries to determine the real nature of the world, life and God, or absolute reality is called metaphysics. Full stop. It is the science of being or reality. Question number 5. What is axiology? The word axiology comes from two Greek words, namely axios and logos. Axios means value and logos means science. So, etymologically, the word axiology means science of value. The branch of philosophy which studies the different problems of value is called axiology. In fact, axiology is concerned mainly with the three ultimate or supreme values of life, which are truth, goodness, and beauty. So, logic, ethics, and aesthetics comes under axiology, as they are concerned with the values of truth, goodness, and beauty are respectively. Mention any 3 points of similarity between philosophy and science. Following are the 3 points of similarity between philosophy and science. Number 1. The common aim of both philosophy and science is to reduce a complex problem into its simpler elements and thereby bring it to the light of knowledge. Number 2. Both philosophy and science discover unity in diversity of facts and events and seek to give systematic and organized view of things. Number 3. In order to determine the truth of any conclusion, both philosophy and science depend on reason. Question number 7. Mention any 3 or 4 points of difference between philosophy and science. Following are the 4 points of difference between philosophy and science. Number 1. Science deals with the world of appearance only, whereas philosophy deals with both the world of appearance and the world of reality. Number 2. Science deals with facts, whereas philosophy deals with value. Number 3. Science is abstract in its result, whereas philosophy is concrete in its explanation. Number 4. The method of science is empirical and mainly deductive, whereas the method of philosophy is empirical as well as rational, deductive as well as inductive. Now, question number 8. What is the relation between philosophy and science? Discuss. Philosophy is the comprehensive study of life and the universe as a whole. First off, it is only studies the world of appearance but also the world of reality. Full stop. While science is a systematic study of a particular department of the universe, it studies only with the world of appearance. In spite of that, there is a close relation between philosophy and science. The common aim of both philosophy and science is to reduce a complex problem into its simpler elements and thereby bring it to the light of knowledge. The scattered materials of common sense are organized by science. Again, philosophy combines the result of all these sciences and thus explains the connection of the different departments of the nature. Thus, from the above discussion, it is evident that philosophy depends on science for its materials and science depends on philosophy for its explanation. They both are complementary to each other. As Professor Ebner says, the science without philosophy are like an aggregate without unity. A body without soul and philosophy without the science is like a soul without a body. Unit 6 Indian Philosophy. Question number 1. What is Indian philosophy or Darshana? In India, philosophy is called Darshana. The term Darshana is derived from the Sanskrit root drish and means to see. Ordinarily, we see with the help of our eyes, and the world connected in this way is called perceptual knowledge. But the word darshana does not mean such ordinary perceptual knowledge. Here, darshana means vision or direct knowledge without the help of ordinary sense organs. Thus, Indian philosophy is the vision of the reality, or in other words, it is the direct realization of the truth. In fact, Indian philosophy means all philosophical speculations of India, ancient and modern, Hindus and non Hindus, theists and atheists. Question number 2. How many systems or schools are there in Indian philosophy? And what are its two classes or groups? The Indian philosophy. There are 9 systems or schools which are broadly divided into two classes or groups, namely Vedic or Orthodox Astic system. Number 2, non-Vedic or heterodox Gnostic system. Question number 3. What do you mean by Vedic or Orthodox systems of Indian philosophy? What are the different Vedic or Orthodox systems in Indian philosophy? Answer. The systems which believe in the authority of the Vedas are called Vedic or Orthodox system of Indian philosophy. There are 6 Vedic or Orthodox systems in Indian philosophy. These are Nyaya, Vaishikya, Shankha, Yoga, Mimamsa, Vedanta. Question number 4. What do you mean by non-Vedic or heterodox system of Indian philosophy? What are the non-Vedic or heterodox systems in Indian philosophy? The systems which do not believe in the authority of the Vedas are called non-Vedic or heterodox systems of Indian philosophy. There are three non-Vedic or heterodox systems in Indian philosophy. These are Charvaka, Buddha, and Jaina. Question number 5. What are the common characteristics of Indian philosophy? Or mention 5 general characteristics of Indian philosophy. Answer. Following are the 5 general characteristics of Indian philosophy. Number 1. Indian philosophy is pragmatic and practical. It is a way of life, not a mere view of life. Number 2. Indian philosophy is basically spiritual in nature because it gives emphasis on the existence of supersensuous reality and spirituality, spiritual values. Number 3. Another characteristics of Indian philosophy is the belief that ignorance of reality is the root cause of our bondage and sufferings. Question number 4. Point number 4. All the systems of Indian philosophy accept one or more than one valid source of knowledge. Number 5. All the systems of Indian philosophy accept the Charpaka, accept the idea of liberation as the highest end of life. Question number 6. What are the four noble truths of Buddhism? Following are the four noble truths of Buddhism. There is suffering. There is cause of suffering. There is cessation of suffering. There is a way to the cessation of suffering. What are the noble eightfold path of Buddha? Following are the noble eightfold path of Buddha. Number 1, right views. Number 2, right resolve. Right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right effort, right thought, right concentration. What is the source of valid knowledge according to Charvaka? Question mark. Explain Charvaka view of knowledge, or how does Charvaka refutes inference as a source of valid knowledge? According to Charvaka, perception is the only source of valid knowledge. That means which is perceived by our sense organs are only real. The things which is not perceived are not real. God, soul, heaven, hell, etc. cannot be believed in because they are all beyond perception. The Charvaka rejects inference as a source of valid knowledge because inference is said to be a mere leap in the dark and hence there is no certainty in its conclusion. Moreover, without perception, there can be no inference. First, we perceive cloud in the sky, and then only we infer rain. Thus, inference is only also based on perception. So, according to Charvaka, actually it is perception, not inference, which is the only source of valid knowledge. Unit 7, Theory of Knowledge. Question number 1. What are the two main theories regarding the origin of knowledge? The two main theories regarding the origin of knowledge are rationalism and empiricism. What is rationalism? Or write a short note on rationalism. Or who is the chief exponent of rationalism? Question mark. Mention the name of any two rationalist philosophers. Rationalism is one of the important theories regarding the origin of knowledge. According to rationalism, reason is the only source of valid knowledge. According to this theory, the mind is not a passive recipient of sensation. It is essentially active and rational. Knowledge is actively produced by the mind out of its inner ideas. Descartes
is the chief exponent of rationalism, which is further developed by Spinoza, Leibniz, and others. According to them, reason or intellect is the only source of valid knowledge. According to Descartes, the father of modern Western philosophy, true knowledge cannot spring from the senses, or the senses cannot reveal what things are in themselves, but what the real object is. We can know only by clear and distinct thinking, which springs from the light of reason alone. Question number 3. What are the different kinds of ideas according to Descartes? Explain them. What do you mean by innate ideas? According to Descartes, there are three kinds of ideas, namely adventitious ideas, factitious ideas, and innate ideas. Adventitious ideas, the ideas imposed on the mind from outside through sense organs, are called adventitious ideas. For example, the ideas of tree, blue sky, white milk, etc. Factitious ideas, the ideas created by mind by the conjunction of ideas, are called factitious ideas. For example, the ideas of golden mountain, sky flower, etc. Number 3. Innate ideas, the ideas imprinted by the mind by God at the time of our birth, are called innate ideas. For example, the ideas of causality, infinity, eternity, God, etc. They are self evident. The development of true knowledge consists in the logical deduction of other truths from these self evident innate ideas. Question number 4. Mention any 5 basic features of rationalism. Following are the 5 basic features of rationalism. Number 1, according to rationalism, reason is the only source of valid knowledge, which is necessary and universal. Number 2, according to rationalism, sense experience cannot give us necessary and universal knowledge. Knowledge derived from sense experience are only particular and contingent. Point 3. According to rationalism, mind is active and reason is the essence of mind. Point 4. According to rationalism, at the time of birth, God imprints certain ideas in the mind which are called innate ideas. These ideas are self evident. Point 5. According to rationalism, knowledge is actively produced by the mind out of these innate ideas through reasons. Question number 5. What is empiricism? Write a short note on empiricism. Who is the chief exponent of empiricism? Mention the name of any 2 empiricist philosophers. Empiricism is one of the important theories regarding the origin of knowledge, according to which sense experience is the only source of valid knowledge. According to this theory, the mind is a passive recipient of sensations. Reason has nothing to do in the formation of knowledge. This theory is mainly advocated by John Locke, which is further developed by Hume, Berkeley, and others. According to empiricism, nothing is inborn and rational. The famous dictum of John Locke is, there is nothing in the intellect which was not previously in the senses. According to Hume, no man is born with innate ideas. The mind of every individual at the time of birth is like a tabula rasa, or a blank sheet of white paper, where there is nothing written but ready to be written. Question number 4. What state any five basic features of empiricism? Or answer. Following are the basic features of empiricism. According to empiricism, sense experience is the only source of valid knowledge. Point 2. According to this theory, the mind is a passive recipient of sensations and reason has nothing to do in the formation of knowledge. Number 3. According to empiricism, no man is born with innate ideas. With innate ideas. Number 4. This theory holds that the mind of every individual at the time of birth is like a tabula rasa or a blank sheet of white paper. Number 5. According to this theory, the method of philosophy is only inductive or empirical. Question number 7. Mention any three grounds or arguments depending on which Locke denies the theory of innate ideas. Question mark. How does Locke denies the doctrine of innate ideas? Following are the three arguments depending on which Locke denies the theory of innate ideas. Number 1. If there were innate ideas, they should be equally present in all minds, but there are no such ideas which are equally present in all minds. Number 2. If there were innate ideas, they would be the same in all minds, but the so called innate ideas of God, morality, causality, and the like differ in different societies and in different individuals in the same society. Number 3. Even if there were the same ideas in all minds, it would not make them innate on that account. Full stop. Because all persons have the same idea of fire, but fire is not an innate idea. So, universality of an idea does not prove its innateness. Question number 8. What are the different sources of valid knowledge? According to Nyaya philosophy, name four Purana on the ways of knowing recognized in Indian philosophy. Answer. According to Nyaya philosophy, there are four sources of valid knowledge, namely perception, inference, testimony. Number 4. Comparison. What is perception? Prataksh. Perception is that knowledge which is produced by sense object contact and which is expressible by words, true or unerring and definite. Question number 10. What are the different kinds of perception according to the Nyaya? The Nyayashikas classifies perception into two mainly: A. Lokik Prataksh or ordinary perception, B. Alokik Prataksh or extraordinary perception. Lokik Prataksh, when the sense organ come into contact with the object in an usual way, then it is called Lokik Prataksh or ordinary perception. Alokik Prataksh, when the sense organ come into contact with the object in an unusual way, then it is called Alokik Prataksh or extraordinary perception. Distinguish between indeterminate perception, निर्विकल्प प्रत्यक्ष, and determinate perception, सविकल्प प्रत्यक्ष. Indeterminate perception or nirvikalp pratyaksha is the immediate apprehension of an object. It is the cognition of an object without any characterization. For example, when I see somebody passing by the side of me. At the first stage, I know only the existence of somebody, but I do not know who is he. On the other hand, determinate perception or Shabikalpa Pratyaksha is the cognition of an object as possessed of some character. For example, when I see somebody passing by the side of me, at this stage I know that he is a man. What are the etymological meaning of the word Anumana? The word Anumana is derived from two words, namely Anu and Mana. Anu means after and Mana means knowledge. So, etymologically, the word Anumana means the knowledge which we get after some other knowledge. What is Anumana according to Nyaya? According to Nyaya, Anumana is a process of reasoning in which we pass from the perception of some mark to the knowledge of something else by virtue of the relation. Universal concomitance between the two. Full stop. For example, the hill is fiery because it has smoke, and whatever has smoke has fire. Question number 14. What are the different kinds of anumana or inference according to the purpose which an inference serves? Question mark. Distinguish between sarvanumana and parathanumana, or sarthanumana and parathanumana, or what is sarthanumana or what is parathanumana? Define with example. According to the purpose which an inference serves, anumana is of two kinds, namely Sharthanumana and Parathanumana. Sharthanumana. Sharthanumana is that in which we infer to acquire knowledge for our oneself. For example, if we infer the existence of fire in the hill by perceiving the smoke in the hill, then it is called Sharthanumana. Parathanumana. Parathanumana is that in which we infer to demonstrate the truth of the acquired knowledge before others. For this type of inference, there are five prepositions or members are necessary, which are as follows. Pratigna, the hill is fiery. Number 2, Hetu, because it has smoke. Number 3, Udaharana, whatever has smoke has fire. For example, the kitchen. Number 4, Upanaya, the hill has smoke. Number 5, Nigamana, therefore the hill is fiery. Question number 15, what is Purvavat Anumana? Purvavat Anumana is that in which we infer the unperceived effect from a perceived cause. For example, when we infer future rain from the perception of dark clouds in the sky, then our inference is Purvavat. What is Shashavat Anumana? Shashavat Anumana is that in which we infer the unperceived cause from a perceived effect. For example, when we infer past rain from the perception of swift muddy current of the river, then our inference is Shashavat. Question number 17. What is Vyapti? The relation of invariable and unconditional coexistence between the middle term and the major term of an inference is called Vyapti. For example, all men are mortal. Ram is a man, therefore Ram is mortal. In the above example of inference, man is the middle term and mortal is the major term, and the relation between these two terms is Vyapti. Logic and philosophy का first chapter in first year. What is a term? A term is a word or combination of words which can be used either as the subject or the predicate of a logical preposition. Thus, the subject and the predicate of a logical preposition are called terms. For example, man is mortal. Here, man and mortal are terms. What is word? A word is a letter or combination of letters which conveys some meaning. Thus, a letter or group of letters which expresses some meaning is called a word. For example, a, I, book, etc. are words. What is general term? A general term is that which is capable in the same sense to by one of an indefinite number of objects or individuals that resemble in one another in certain essential qualities. Thus, a general term may not only denotes things but also connotes essential qualities possessed by the things in common. For example, man, tree, book, etc. are general terms. Question number 4. What is singular term? A singular term is that which is applicable in the same sense to any one of a single objective, a single quality. Thus, a term which denotes a single individual or connotes a single quality only in the same sense is called a singular term. For example, this book, Ram, honesty, etc. are singular terms. What is significant singular term? A significant singular term is that which points out one definite individual object or person by referring to peculiar quality possessed by it. Thus, a term which refers to a single object by indicating some quality peculiar to it is called significant singular term. For example, the best boy in the class. What is denotation? The quantitative meaning of a term is called denotation. Thus, by denotation, we mean the thing or things to which the term is applied in the same sense. Full stop. For example, the term man is said to be the denotation because it denotes all men. What is connotation? The qualitative meaning of a term is said to be the connotation. Thus, by connotation, we mean the common and essential quality or qualities to which the term implies in the same sense. For example, animality and rationality are said to be the connotation. What is connotative term? A connotative term is that which denotes things or individuals as well as connotes attributes. Which possesses Thus, a term which possesses both denotation and connotation is called connotative term. For example, the term man is connotative because it denotes all men and connotes attribute, animality and rationality. What is non-connotative term? A non-connotative term is that which either denotes things or individual or connotes attribute but not both. Thus, a term which possesses either denotation or connotation is called non-connotative term. For example, the term Ram is non-connotative because it refers to an individual only. What is absolute term? An absolute term is that which can be to understand by itself without the help of any other term. Thus, a term which is known by itself and which can be mean without reference to other term is called an absolute term. For example, man, book, student, etc. What is relative term? A relative term is that which cannot be understood by itself without the help of any other term. Thus, a term which can be known with the help of other related term is called relative term. For example, the term teacher is relative because it is known by the term student. What are the different kinds of terms? Singular term, general term, abstract, absolute term, relative term, connotative term, non-connotative term. State the difference between term and word. Or all terms are word, but all words are not term. Explain. The difference between term and word are every term is a word because it has a definite meaning, but every word is not term because every word cannot be used by itself either as the subject or the predicate. Terms are elements of declarative sentences, but words are elements of any type of sentences. A term only can express thoughts, but a word can express thoughts, feelings, wishes, request, command, etc. Thus, all terms are words, but all words are not terms. State what is formal truth? Formal truth means self consistency or freedom from self contradiction amongst thought themselves. What is material truth? Material truth means correspondence of thought with the things of the actual world. The expression grass is green is material truth as the idea corresponds with a fact. Distinguish between science and an art. Science is concerned with the acquisition of knowledge, but an art is concerned with the practical skill to realize definite. Science aims at knowledge for its own sake, but an art aims at rules to apply knowledge into actual practice. State two features of logic, or discuss two important needs of logic, or state two nature of logic. A study of logic fresh our mind from emotion, blind faith, etc. A study of logic sharpens our intellect, cultivates the power of abstract thinking, thinks and develops the reasoning power. HS फर्स्ट ईयर का लॉजिक फिलोसफी का यूनिट नंबर 8 रियलिज्म एंड आइडियलिज्म. Question number 1. What is realism? Realism is that theory of reality which recognizes the reality of external world dependent of knowing mind. This means that when we know an object, it is known because it has real and independent existence outside the mind. For example, before the discovery of plant's life by Dr. Jagadish Chandra Bose, we were not aware of it. But that does not mean that there was no life in plant before that discovery. Then also it was. Hence, the existence and function of the object is not dependent on the knowing mind. In fact, the object of knowledge exists even if it is not known. Question number 2. State any 5 basic features of realism. Following are the 5 basic features of realism. Number 1. According to realism, the existence of external world is independent of knowing mind. Number 2. Realism gives more emphasis on the known than the knower. According to realism, the relation between knower and known is external. According to realism, knowledge can never influence the object. According to realism, truth lies in correspondence between the knowledge and the object of knowledge. What are the main forms of or kinds of realism? There are various forms of realism. Amongst them, the main four forms of realism are Nyaya, naive real or popular realism, scientific represent realism. Then third point, neorealism. For number, neocritical realism. What is idealism? Idealism is the theory of reality which maintains that idea or spirit is the ultimate reality and the reality of external world is dependent on the knowing mind. According to idealism, there cannot be any world independent of mind, and if a thing or its quality is to exist, it must be perceived or known by any mind. Hence, the world of objects can exist only as an idea in the mind. Question number 5. State any 5 basic features of idealism. Following are the 5 basic features of idealism. Number 1. According to idealism, the existence of an external world is dependent on the knowing mind. Idealism gives more emphasis on the knower than the known. According to idealism, the relation between knower and known is internal. According to idealism, knowledge influences the object and its qualities. According to idealism, truth lies in coherence among different knowledges. Question number 6. What are the main forms or kinds of idealism? Idealism takes various forms. Amongst them, the main forms of idealism are subjective idealism, objective idealism, phenomenalistic or transcendental idealism. Question number 9. Mention any 4 or 5 points of distinction between realism and idealism. Following are the 5 points of distinction between realism and idealism. According to realism, the existence of external world is independent of knowing mind, whereas according to idealism the existence of external world is dependent on the knowing mind. Number 2, according to realism gives more emphasis on the known than the knower, whereas idealism gives more emphasis on the knower than the known. Number 3. According to realism, the relation between knower and known is external, while according to idealism, the relation between knower and known is internal. Number 4. According to realism, knowledge can be never influence the object, while according to idealism, knowledge influence the object and its qualities. Number 5. According to idealism, truth lies in correspondence between the knowledge and the object of knowledge, while according to idealism, truth lies in coherence among different knowledges.